Get all of your Godzilla King of the Monsters figures at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description down below.
Huh. And you thought my eyes were bad.
Kaiju, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hello there, collectors. It is Steven here, and we are getting into the thick of it now, kids. We have a review today of the NECA Godzilla 2019 from Godzilla King of the Monsters. Yeah, we took a look at the Jakks Pacific stuff. We took a look at the Bandai Boys Division stuff with the Movie Monster Series releases, but now we're getting into the action figure stuff and NECA's first KOTM figure release. Now, this one has been highly anticipated because a lot of folks have been ready to put this against the SH Monster Arts because it's more affordable and it's NECA and it's going to be awesome. However, right out the gate, there are some issues. What's that? Well, let's take a look in multiple directions to see whether or not this guy is worth adding into your collection. Something you should have been able to pick up right away is that this figure does not look right, or left, or up, or down. That's right. NECA is following in the footsteps of the more expensive competitor, which they really haven't done before. So why they're starting now, I'm not quite sure. But aside from the focal point of the figure being rather messed up, the rest of the figure actually does look quite nice. The sculpt is very impressive, as it should be, because they do claim that they have access to the actual CGI model that was used in the movie, so yes, we should have as accurate as possible, but the paint detailing actually looks pretty good. The dorsal plates, I'm personally in the camp that they're a little heavy-handed, but it does look fantastic overall. It actually looks like this is a kaiju that could have stepped off of the screen. However, the main focal point of the figure, where you're going to be looking first on Godzilla, is going to be that head, and NECA screwed this one up. Sorry, kids, there's no other way to say it. This is a pretty botched release. Not only is it on mine, but it is on several others, where not only are the eye decals, or maybe that is paint, I don't know. Hopefully it's not, because it would be easier to dismiss decals than paint application. The eye decals are misplaced. Again, it's not only on mine, it's on pretty much everyone else's, where we're going to have at least one eye that does not sit correctly. This is very similar to the Pennywise figure that they released, specifically the 2017 one, where sometimes you would have the eye printed on the eyebrow. Well, here sometimes I've seen one printed on the cheek. Not good. What does this do for me, though, is I actually have an example of how Shin Godzilla's eyes should be on the 2019. There's also an issue with his teeth, as in, well, yeah, they're not painted correctly to begin with, but sometimes there's too much gum to be there, and also, he's got a bit of an overbite. A bit of an overbite. To be honest with you, this thing looks like a fish from the depths of the ocean, and quite frankly, it should go back there. All right, so enough about the head sculpt, because there's probably going to be a whole bunch of people who are going to be complaining that I'm nothing but negative. Let's take a closer look at the rest of the figure. And to be honest with you, they did a really nice job. The keloid scars, the overall scutes on this thing, the scaling, the bumps and the crevices, everything looks nice. And it is enhanced by a nice dusty brown dry brushing, which really brings all the details to the surface and really makes you believe that this is a living, breathing monster, even if it's only at the 6-inch scale. Whether it's going to be some of the plating on the shoulder area of Godzilla all the way down to that bulky chest or the thunder thighs, Godzilla looks really, really cool. And yes, we do have the return of those gills on his throat. Now, like I said before, the dorsal plates actually have a really cool sculpt, but I feel like the dry brushing on the plates, it's a little too heavy-handed for my own personal flavor, but you know what? That's okay. Because why? The details look great, and if I don't like it, maybe you do. Who knows? Continuing on down to the tail, it actually does look nice overall. One issue in the articulation section, which I'll cover soon enough, they could have gone a little lighter on overall, this Godzilla looks great except for the head, where your eyes will be drawn first. Yeah, that just doesn't look good. All right, for Godzilla's articulation, if you have the 2014 figure, you pretty much know what you're going to be getting into with this guy, with only a couple of changes thanks to the actual design of the figure. And also, NECA actually decided to think this one through. What do we have? Well, the jaw opens and closes on a hinge, so as you can clearly see, that's about the extent of the movement that we have there. The head plugs into the neck on a ball joint, so this way we can move Godzilla's head around just a little bit. Okay, you got the range of movement there. The neck plugs into the body on a ball joint, but unfortunately because of the dorsal plate here, we're going to have a little difficult time turning it left and right, but thankfully this is made of rubber. So even though it's made of rubber, we can still move it and get the full range of movement. It's just going to be a little difficult to get that full turn in to, do that if you want to do that. So yeah, just keep it in mind. You're going to be rubbing up against stuff, and over time that may wear down. So just make sure you are clearing the range of movement there. We do have ball jointed shoulders for Godzilla, so this way we can spin his arms around, move them in and out a little bit. That's always good. Then at the elbows, we do have a swivel where they are connected into the upper arm portion, the bicep to be more specific, and then obviously we are going to have a hinge there. A change from the 2014 design where the wrists were strictly ball joints, here we have hinges and swivels where they connect in. So this way you can spin the wrists around and have them hinge movement in one direction or the other. So while we can get them to move in and out or up and down, we cannot get them to move in this direction here, as you can see that I'm making with my fingers, okay? So we can do that with the 2014 design. Can't do that with this one, which is okay. Now for the waist joint, here, mine might be stuck. I don't think it is because I blasted this thing with heat, but on 2014 design, it was much, much better. But we do have a barbell style ball joint here, or double axis anyway, where there's a ball joint seated up here and down here with a peg connecting them in between. But realistically speaking, I'm only able to get these sort of rocking motions, and this is what leads me to believe it's the same style of joint. As you can see here, as I force Godzilla, he kind of rocks from one side to the other, but not too well. But on my 2014 figure, it's easy as pie. So I'm thinking the joint's just stuck, but yes, we do have a ball joint movement there at the waist. Speaking of ball joints, ball jointed hips. So we can spin the legs around, kind of move them in and out, shift them in one direction over the other. So that's pretty cool. For the knees, hinge and swivel. Unfortunately, they work better moving forward than they do going backwards. Something that NECA really thought through with this release is they actually gave us fully functioning ball jointed ankles. So this way we get a little bit of ankle rocker movement, and we can move Godzilla's foot forward and back as well to help accommodate for better poses. Now, something that they did, which was a major improvement over the 2014 design and a lot of the other Godzilla figures they've made, is they have a fully segmented tail all the way up until this portion here. So we have in total 1, 2, 3, 4... I believe that's a joint there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 joints in total. Now, the reason why I say I believe that that is a joint, and I am correct on that one, it is, a lot of these joints for me were stuck out of the box. And as you can kind of see here as I zoom in, you can see that the reason why they were stuck is paint actually got them stuck. So this figure must have been painted at some point fully put together, and then paint just got in there and got it stuck. So it was kind of like a big old crackle pop session going on in my kitchen while I was setting this guy up with some heat, because you should always heat up your NECA figures. Yeah. Now, something else to keep in mind. Well, 2 more things. NECA shows that you need to attach the tail out of the box, which is okay. But the way that they show you to do it is technically incorrect. They show you to heat up the segment of the tail that you get in the box, which actually has the ball joint attached to it, and that's not correct. You want to heat up the socket, not the ball joint. Heating up the ball joint won't do you any good. Heat up the socket. The other thing is, this is all from this Godzilla. Some of you may have said, well, I saw some of this stuff earlier. This is my second take. Yeah. So all in all, does Godzilla move well? Yeah, he does. I mean, it's been about 5 years. They can spruce up the engineering a bit, but it's not terrible. It's serviceable. Now it's time to talk about accessories, and unfortunately, this is going to be the only King of the Monsters action figure NECA will be releasing which does not include an accessory. Mothra will come with a display base, and a larva. Rodan will come with that little observatory, volcano top, whatever it is. Yeah, and a flight stand. And Godzilla version 2 will come with an atomic breath effect and a small explosion effect, whereas Godzilla here comes with absolutely nothing. They couldn't throw in a building. They couldn't throw in a tank. They couldn't throw in anything. Nope. But here's the box that it comes with. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So if you do want to get some accessories for this guy, because let's be honest, we all know you wanna, or maybe some effect parts, you know I got videos there to help you out. And if you get some of those, you can make a pretty neat Godzilla display. That's what we all want, isn't it? All right, now we're going to go ahead and move right on over to that size comparison. You can see how big this one is, and, well, you know what? He's going to fit in just well enough with your average 6-inch Godzilla scale display. So if you already got a spot picked out for this guy, congratulations. He is going to sneak in just perfectly fine. And if I do say so, he scales pretty well with the Mezco Kong. So, you know, maybe get that one too. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, Steven, why didn't you compare this with a 2014 NECA? I did. It's right in front of you. So one of the big things about this figure release is that NECA really wanted to beat the drum that this is a 100% new sculpt compared to the original release of the MonsterVerse Godzilla. Here's the problem with that. The changed details from the 2019 design, from the 2014 design, aside from the major ones like the dorsal plates, the feet, the tail, they are so minute. Honestly, they're not different. They really aren't. We have the plating that's on the shoulders, which looks nearly identical, except for maybe just the overall quality of the sculpt on this figure looking a little cleaner. We have some of the scaling on the thighs and some of the bumps and the ridges and the crevices that looks nearly identical as well. You know what? I really can't say for sure this is 100% new. I mean, we're going to go right over here to this shot and this shot. I'm going to go ahead and flip them back and forth on the screen for you here. Now, the 2019 Godzilla is posed to be a bit more hunched over, so naturally there's going to be a bit of a shift. But do these two areas look 100% different? I mean, yes, there's going to be the area surrounding the base of the dorsal plates that look different, but is it really? I think what NECA means to say is that they had to go back and make a 100% new mold for this guy. But to say that the designs are inherently 100% different, I don't believe it. Nah. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Overall, the figure is sculpted really well with some nice paint applications. The articulation is a bit dated for the current release year, and the fact that it has no accessories despite the previously released Godzilla figure and the next few upcoming Godzilla figures will have them is a bit disappointing. They did also completely botch the face on this release, and considering we're just off the heels of the 1962 Godzilla release, which was really great, this one is just a bit of a letdown. NECA has done better with that $23 to $25 price tag in other properties and with Godzilla in and of himself, and they really just didn't live up to the hype on this one. Some fans, face won't bother them. Others, it's pretty much what can make or break a Godzilla design. And I think this one is broken, at least for me anyway. Yeah, not a bad figure, not terrible, but it's certainly not in any sort of running for Figure of the Year. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.